All right, I picked up this 97 Honda 300EX probably 4 months ago. I paid $300 for it, and I rolled it in the garage and literally put it in the corner, like actually in the corner. We got to figure out what's up with this thing. So it looks like someone, I don't know, it looks like someone started taking it apart to, I don't know, rebuild it or something. I mean, it wasn't in terrible shape. Besides the plastics, you know, someone painted them, which they look a lot better in the camera. But nonetheless, all the plastics are there, except for maybe the gas tank piece. Now it is cracked here, but maybe we can do something with that. So yeah, it looks like someone started taking it apart. I mean, you can see the foot pegs are off, the brakes are off. Unfortunately, that foot peg bolt broke off in there. You can see the headlight, all the brake parts are in here. Maybe they're good. I don't know. These look, I don't know. They look good, but at the same time, someone's been screwing them, and they kind of look like they were cleaned with some sort of acid, which kind of also looks like what's on the foot pegs. I don't know. The airbox is out, the headlight, exhaust. Someone put a daggone Harley master cylinder on the front here. I mean, like the bolts for the headlight are still there, the headlight bulb, you know, this is still here. I mean, a lot of the original parts are still here, which is always good. I am missing the battery box. What else we got? I got on the lift here, the rear tires hold air. They got good ITP hole shots, which I say they're good. Maybe they're not. They're a little dry rotted looking. Front still do not hold air. But it looks like the little guards right there are still little disc brake guards. Those usually are missing. Like the stock swing arm guard is still there. You know, it's weird what's missing, and then like the stuff that usually people take off or break, you know, it's still here. The front bumper's not in terrible shape. Probably bend that back a little bit. So yeah, like I said, it's a 97. What else we got? Yes, there's a bunch of like plastic pieces that go in there. Those right there that they took out. So, and they took off the seat. Made this beautiful Barney seat cover. Sarcasm. Yeah, you can see the paint of these, and it's cracked right here, which I think I can like flip these upside down and then like put some weights on them, and then like fiberglass the bottom. That way it's all nice and good. We got a super custom grab bar here, and look, the taillight's still there, the OEM taillight, which is, those things are like 40-50 bucks used on the internet. You can see there's no rear brakes. Looks like the shock might have some rust on the shaft. But 300EX shocks aren't even really the best or anything like that. As long as it's there. You can also see the CDI is just dangling. So anyways, I'm gonna put this thing on a time lapse and start tearing it apart. Plastics off. This thing does not look so bad after all. Maybe we get rid of this stupid grab bar, which luckily I thought it was welded to the frame, but I think, well, maybe it is. Anyways, I'll just be quiet now. Anywho, I just noticed, might be worth mentioning, these are original handlebars and grips. Now this was over here. This piece that clearly says up was not up. So, and this was over here, so I moved it all back, right? Moved it back the way it's supposed to be, hooked up the clutch safety switch for now. I adjusted the clutch cable because it was way loose. I'm looking at some other things here. This appears to be the reverse and the neutral light. And then this, I believe, is the ignition. However, I do not have a key. And it looks like the ignition is cut anyways. Which, you know what, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might have a key ignition here somewhere with the key in it. Give me un momento. Where is it? It's somewhere in here. Maybe it's check that out. Let's see what the wires are. The wires are not black and red. However, it is male female, and you just have to, you have to complete the loop. So really, you could just put these together like this, right? But for the sake of doing things right, this is what we're doing. So I don't have a battery hooked up or anything, but you can see we got the key switch, we got the key. We'll just put that up here, up there. Now, these gas tanks always rust out, right? And I was like, dang, the gas tank doesn't look too bad on the inside. Just a little bit. I was like, oh, look at that one little hole. Well, then, of course, we get it off. And sure enough, these jokers have booger welded the heck out of this thing. Which is fine. However, I guess we'll have to see if it leaks or not. My guess it still leaks based off the fact that there's no paint and that it's welded. But hey, maybe we could freaking put some JB Weld. We could grind this down, JB Weld it, maybe put a new petcock on, a new OEM one, because the aftermarket ones are garbage. I mean, I have another plastic tank, but these things, those are like about $250, $200. So for if I can fix this up, with a little bit of time, put a new gas cap on it. I don't think I have the gas cap. What else is this thing missing? The gas cap, it's missing the battery box. It was missing a key. Now it's not. It's missing a good grab bar. Let's see if we can find the neutral switches. Lights. Alright, I don't know what the heck they got on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and plug these in. And I'm gonna go get my battery charger, and we'll just put that on to see if we can get the lights turned on. Alright, so I tried my battery charger, which is way over there, but it would not do anything because there's no battery. So I hooked up the jumper cables to the four-wheeler over there, which hopefully it's got a good ground. And I got it hooked up here. Zip tied this. Now let's make sure it's in neutral, which I think it is because I rolled it, yeah. Now let's see if we get a light that comes on when I turn this on. Cross your fingers. No! Nothing's happening. I don't like it. Nothing's happening there. Let's see. I did notice this is unhooked. This looks like it's plugged in. Let's see, the CDI box. That looks plugged in except for this one ground wire, it looks like. Why do they make this so complicated? Okay, it's actually, this ground wire is plugged in, it's just this little boot. Now actually I think this is the CDI. I don't know what this one is. They don't look in terrible shape. You can see also right there, those bolts are pulled out. Maybe that's why the clutch was loose. The only other thing I can think of is if this is not a good connection. Now these everything here looks connected. Now we do have this fuse here. And I'm 95% sure it's good. So maybe stick that back in. And that wire goes, this wire feeds, this is positive. So it piggybacks off this stud here on the starter solenoid, right? And this feeds this wire right here, which feeds everything else, feeds power to the CDI or whatever it actually does. This one is your magneto stator, which it is plugged in. And then that's your power. This is your 2 starter solenoid wires. And then I assume these 2 little wires here go, oh, those go over. Those go over and under. That looks like it goes to the reverse neutral safety switch. And then what else? This goes to the rectifier. This is all plugged in. Let's take this blue tape off. Okay, I went ahead and checked over all these connections here. I took out the fuse and jumped it with this little jumper. This nut was loose, or one of these was. I cleaned the ground. I didn't clean these, but it looked like there were 2 shiny, surfaces mating. Checked all these. Checked that as far as the connections. All the connections looked good here. Then I started having, I still wasn't getting a light come on, which I still don't have a light coming on, I guess. And, right, so then I noticed that this wasn't hooked up, the coil wasn't hooked up, and there's a ground, so it doesn't look like it, but I did clean it up a little bit. Still nothing. And then I was like, all right, well, this switch looks rough anyway, so I'm gonna have to replace it. So that switch up here, the clutch switch, I just said, you know what, that switch might be bad. We're gonna freaking just, we're gonna bypass. How about that? We're gonna bypass that little switch, which just cut the ends off, and I twisted them together, and then I put some heat shrink. And now, when you press this, well, what the heck? Okay, so there is a short in the wiring harness somewhere, or a break in the wire, because I moved this. I'm holding the button down, right? All right, so it turns over. Oh, we got the light on now. So yeah, this is definitely bad. Now, another issue that has me slightly concerned is this bolt right here. So this is the oil supply line that goes to the head, and this is a banjo bolt. And this looks like a regular bolt from the store. So it could be drilled out. So I'm gonna take it out real quick and we're gonna find out. All right, here's the moment of truth. Hopefully we don't lose our washer here and our bracket. Dun dun dun. Oh, we got so lucky. All right, well I guess I'll put that back on. I'll order, I probably have to dig, I probably got one somewhere. All right, so you can see right here that there is no wire end on this, and it does look like it'll still reach. And so anyways, this is like an original style. I mean, this coil is not original to a 300. I don't know what it's off of, but this cap end definitely is what comes on these stock. So we'll screw this baby on real quick. Should be good. Oh, well, that could be why we didn't sound like we had much compression, because the spark plug's out. And as well, the spark plug is bent in like that. So let me see if I can find another plug. Okay, this was our plug that came out, and I found this one. It's not much prettier, but we're gonna see if we have spark. Let us see if we have spark. Oh yeah. Not the hottest spark I've ever seen, but spark is spark. I also clean up the threads with the... Now I suppose I should check to make sure there's oil on this thing. Oh yeah, we got plenty of oil. We're gonna spray some brake clean. And come on. Come on, baby. Ooh, well that didn't sound healthy. Let's pop those tappet covers off real quick. So this is just a quick dirty way, like when you see those go down, see those are down. So whenever these are down, these are supposed to be up. And you're supposed to be able to have some adjustment, or you should be able to have some play, your valve lash in between them. So, all right, we got the valves adjusted now. Let's hope the valves are no longer hitting the piston or whatever that noise was. And then let's hope this thing makes a connection here. Yeah, I don't know, that doesn't sound good. All right, so I got this rocker cover off. And you can see these right here, ooh, that didn't feel good, are wore out. Now this in the camera looks like it's, this bearing surface right here, it doesn't feel bad. Neither's this one. Plus the bearing ride's there. But the cam, actually no, I think there's a bearing on each end. So we're good on that. There's a bearing on each end. But these and the cam, these rockers and the cam are what seems to have gone bad. Now, I heard a bunch of other crazy racket, so we're gonna go ahead and pull the cylinder off. All right, so I got the head off. And if you look, that oil is very watery. So I think maybe some of the damn gas was getting in the oil from that carburetor overflowing. And maybe that's what we're hearing. I haven't pulled the cylinder off yet, but I do feel groove, or it's not terrible. I think I got, let's see, do I have any more bolts? Yeah, I gotta take 2 more bolts off, and then this should all come out. All right, so it should pop up now here. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. There's that little reason. Now this thing did have, like, see all that carbon that, like, had all that on top. And I mean, I don't know. This might be normal for, you know, a lot of hours, but it's not terrible. It's not like you feel it. Now, we'll say the second ring doesn't like to turn. One thing to mention is when I checked for oil earlier, right? I noticed, I said, oh yeah, we got plenty of oil. Well, that's because all the gas had leaked into the crankcase, it seems like. And that's why the oil level was really high. And the oil's very thin now. This is normal, I feel like. Side to side like that. And I don't think there's any up and down. I can't tell. Alright, moving along here. I have the side covers, gasket surfaces cleaned up. And I also have a mess. But anyways, this is our new Wiseco piston. It's a high compression piston. And the one thing that really noticed to me, or stuck out to me, is this. Look how freaking beefy this is right here, where the wrist pin goes. I did just notice there's no holes. But I just thought it was interesting on how much beefier it is. So I think we're gonna throw the base gasket on and start putting the piston in and getting this sucker back together. One thing I did forget to mention, this is a new OEM cam, and you'll see later I have new rockers too. Here I'm trying to take out the shafts for the rocker arms, and there's two 5mm pins on the bottom that you cannot see, but they are super hard to get out. They're pressed in, they're super tight. Alright, so it's been a while since I had the camera recording because lots has happened. I got the engine all back together. It's a little cold out, so this is getting all runny, but we'll let it dry and then we'll peel it off. I lost this spring somehow, but I had another clutch cover right there, so I stole it out of there. I gotta get a filter tomorrow. Now the reason I stopped recording is because this is the rocker cover that was in the bike. And you see those two pins? Those two pins are what holds in these other pins that hold the rocker arms in. And these damn pins, I fought with these things for probably 2 hours, 3 hours. And so finally I went to my little parts area, and I did find one with good tappets, but however I had already bought new tappets, so I had another bad one, and I was able to get the one pin out relatively easily, and the other pin fought me. I still haven't gotten these pins out, so I think I need to heat these up with, well, I guess I don't even need to use this anymore. But if you were going to get these out, replace the rockers, I would definitely say you need to order new pins as well, and then heat the heck out of it right here so they come out. I did put a new switch assembly on it, and key switch. I also hooked all the electrical back together. This regulator was backwards, wasn't allowing that to go there. Probably need to bundle all these up still, tidy all this, but this is all back together. So the next thing, looks like I'm missing the battery box, which I already knew. I am missing the, there's like a little crazy piece of metal that goes there for the fenders. Have to get on eBay and order something like that. All right, so everything's together. I have turned over the four-wheeler a bunch, get oil pumped to the head, and now we're gonna put some gas in it and see what happens. Okay, so I ran out of storage. This is the carburetor off of the bike that was in there. This is the other one that it was not running on. And I just noticed that this one is missing the air fuel mixture screw. So that could have been an issue. Now this one, I have the air fuel mixture screw, but the O-ring, or the one O-ring, you know, of course, was dry rotted bad. So I think it'll run without it, but I will continue. And I don't think this accelerator pump was working. So no wonder this, because this is the carburetor I originally had on another bike, and no wonder it wouldn't run right. It had a bog because there's no fuel mixture screw. So the one I'm working on is the one that I had in the bike that I thought was a good one, which, as we see, the fuel mixture screw was missing. The one it came with is in the background there, and I believe it's an OEM Keihin, which of course would probably be better, right? But I went ahead and just swapped over the fuel mixture screw and made sure everything was correct. Okay, so I adjusted the valves, and it sounds a lot better. Apparently I've been setting these things to the wrong spec this whole time. It's supposed to be 4,000s, and I think I was doing 10,000s. The carburetor's still leaking a little bit, overflowing. But it seems to be running good. That's exciting. So I got the bike running good, and I rolled it outside, started spraying it down with some aluminum brightener on the engine, and then once I did that, I let it sit, pressure washed it, and then after this, I sprayed it down with some rust dissolver because the whole bike was a little rusty. Alright, so we're cleaning it up here, and I have sprayed the whole thing down with this rust dissolver. And this stuff I've used before, I soaked the chain in it, and it worked pretty good. Now this stuff, it's not soaking in a bucket, but I sprayed it on there, and I think it's working. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but I used the whole bottle on it, and you can see some rust right there on the ground. It seems like it's taking it off the exhaust for the most part, or mostly I see it working on the exhaust. You can see some dripping down right there too. Maybe on the axle, it's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna let that sit on there for about 20 minutes more, because I think it says you're supposed to use it for 30 minutes. And then before I rinse it off, I'm gonna mix some of this up, vinegar. This is like 6 times more powerful than the stuff you get at the grocery store. So vinegar is supposed to take the rust off too. And once we spray that on there, let it sit on there for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then we'll pressure wash and see what we're left with. So it started raining, so I had to pressure wash real quick. But this thing is looking awesome. All the rust, a lot of the rust is gone. Now, that means it's bare metal. So like, it looks like the coating got taken off the brake lever here. Looks like these are gonna need to be painted. This little bracket cover, you know, the exhaust. But I used all that Rust-Oleum stuff, and then I used some vinegar, which was expensive. I think the Rust-Oleum might have been better, but I used all the Rust-Oleum, so I sprayed vinegar on it again. And I'll say that that Rust-Oleum stuff really got the chrome on those shocks looking real nice. I also used the aluminum brightener on the engine, which seemed to really help a lot. I think I might just take a wire wheel to this and take the paint off. We'll see. And look at the axle. The axle almost looks brand new. Now, I'm concerned that it looks brand new almost because it took off the zinc plating or something, but I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it took any of this off. But anyways, maybe I'll spend another $13 on another thing of Rust-Oleum rust remover, and then I think we can wire wheel the front A-arms, maybe take the shocks off, and just kind of spray bomb everything with maybe some touch-up paint, just to make it look better. Just touch it up, and then of course I'll take the foot peg off, the shifter, couple little things like this clamp. The clamp, the coating came off of. It looks like this little bracket could use some paint. So anyways, in the next video, we got it running in this video, and it got it running good. So in the next video, we'll work on finishing touches and more cosmetic stuff. Yeah. But I like these 300s because they're cheap. Well, they start out cheap. The parts are cheap, and there's all kinds of Chinese parts. The Chinese stuff is pretty good these days, especially on simple stuff. You know, it's not super high performance. Usually I use the Chinese top ends on these 300s, but I went ahead and used a stock cylinder, and I used, what else did I use? The Wiseco piston. If you like more projects like this, subscribe, like, comment down below. Tell me what kind of four-wheeler dirt bike you want me to fix up. I got all kinds of projects. This one's not a project anymore, but I got this one over here with a Predator 212 in it. That's the 150R. That's my good 300. So if you like these videos, comment down below what you want to see me work on, a 400EX, 450, some kind of crazy thing.